Philip Holsinger joins me now. Great to have you with us. What was it
Thank you.
like? What was it like being in that prison when you were inside?
Well, I've been here for over a year working on a book on the security transformation in El Salvador. So I'm actually quite familiar with CECOT. And the story for, time really focuses on the Venezuelans because I'm used to seeing the hardened criminals, MS-13 guys coming in there. And so I'm familiar with that. It was the transportation, I think, of the Venezuelans that really caught my attention.
Yeah, you described how the men got off the plane. Some of them had defiant looks on their faces as they got to the door of the plane and started down the stairs, but that those looks were quickly gone. This was a whole new world they were walking into.
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody's defiant when they're arrested, even if they're innocent. But these guys, they had a transformation they hadn't seen in the faces of people coming in there, and there are reasons for that. I mean, the MS-13 guys know who they are, where they are, and they know what's coming. These guys didn't even know where they were, so they were very different.
You wrote about one young man who claimed he wasn't a gang member. He told you could hear him talking to the guards as they were, frankly, handcuffing him. They were all bent over, handcuffed by their hands and their ankles. They couldn't stand up straight. They were shaved and stripped. And he kept saying he was gay and that he was a hairdresser. You say you believed him.
Yeah, the context of me saying that is that you learn what people look like, sound like, and act like under duress. I've been around the world in many dangerous and rough situations, and so a phrase that I've said several times is, I think I first said it to my daughter Sophia, is that a gang member, doesn't they don't whimper, they growl, and that this man whimpered. I mean, it's when somebody is manhandling you, and a lot of that is for security purposes. Your defense isn't to sort of yell out your weakness to them, and for a man to yell out that he's gay and a stylist, and then ask for his mother, that's not sort of what you would do if you wanted to be, helped in that situation. So it really caught my attention. In that context, I thought, wow, if I had to decide, I would at least do a double take on this guy and look at his file.
He asked for his mother?
Yes, it was as they were shaving his hair, he folded his hands and cried out to his mother.
We do know about this man's case a little bit because he has a lawyer who's been working on his behalf, who has confirmed that, in fact, he was here claiming asylum, that he is a hairdresser who was working here. There's another man, his lawyer says he was a professional soccer player who actually was in the country legally. He waited for 4 months on the Mexico side of the border, went through the CBP app under the Biden administration, crossed the border legally, and was awaiting his hearing, his asylum hearing that was scheduled for next month.
Well, I'll say this, just to interrupt you quickly, is that I've never identified this man, and so I have no idea. I mean, it seems like, well, this must be the same person, but I don't actually know that the man that I heard and photographed, and he's not in any of your photographs here. I don't think, I'm not sure, but
yeah, I don't think the chances are very high that there are two men in that 261.
I just want to make sure that I've never said that, and that I have no knowledge of that. I'm an eyewitness there and a reporter of that, but I actually don't know anything about that whole case and situation.
We are hearing, obviously, there are frantic relatives who are saying, my loved one was swept up in this raid and was deported to this prison in El Salvador. They are not a gang member. But these men in these prisoners in this prison, they're not allowed phone calls. How is anybody supposed to call a lawyer or call their mother, as that young man you described was crying for his mother as his head was shaved? How is anybody supposed to contact anybody in this prison?
Well, as you had said in your intro, that CECOT is a special prison built here in El Salvador, specifically for the gangs. It was built in 7 months when the government went to war on the gangs. And the government, when they began the war, they had 76 6,000 files of known gang members. I mean, in El Salvador, they knew exactly who they're looking for. Once they reach CECOT in El Salvador, they've actually gone through, been placed in another prison, then gone through the courts, even if they're massive court groups, and that's a whole other discussion. But when they end up there, they've been sentenced. The Venezuelans are different because they've arrived there and now they're housed separately. And I think that everybody's sort of trying to figure out what exactly they're going to be. And so the question of, their rights is a little different than the rest of them.
Right.
But also, I think one thing you pointed out in the earlier reporting, which is very interesting for people to know, that these gangs are so sophisticated in their murder protocol. It's the stuff of nightmares. But in the last 8 years, they began to forbid tattooing of the face and everything above the collar line as a way to hide in plain sight.
Wow.
And,
it's really chilling, Philip. I look forward to reading your book about all of this, to be honest. And it is worth noting that in El Salvador, people in El Salvador support this prison because those gangs were so horrific and had such a stranglehold on life there that it's made a real difference, even though it's a prison that clearly has been accused of human rights and abuses and brutal conditions. It was working to contain the El Salvador gangs. The question is this an appropriate place for the 261 people that the United States government just shipped there?
All of those questions are the right questions. And I'll tell you, this is a country you should visit. It's staggering. I've been so many places in my life. In El Salvador, I came expecting the worst, and I still can't get my head around how kind and joyful people are. I keep saying it doesn't correlate with any place I've been in the world.
Philip Holsinger, really great to talk to you tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.